In 1998, the gaming industry was revolutionized when The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time was released on November 21st. Following A Link to the Past story formula, it created a phenomenal adventure with fun characters, cool items, intense boss fights, challenging dungeons, and an intriguing story. To top it all off, it was the first Zelda game to be in full 3D with character models and three-dimensional maps and everything that comes with creating 3D games. Back in good old 1998, this game was awesome! Heck, it still is! However, because of the incredibly high success Ocarina of Time was to Nintendo, it created an unreachable bar of expectations for the Zelda franchise. This bar wasn't reached until Breath of the Wild came out on March 3rd, 2017. Nearly 19 years later, Ocarina of Time had finally met its match. But what about all the mainline console Zelda titles in between Ocarina of Time and Breath of the Wild? Well folks, that is what I'm here for. My name is Hylian Luke, and today we are going to take a look at how 3D Zelda games were affected by Ocarina of Time's success. Now before I begin, I would like to give out a warning that this video will contain story spoilers for all the 3D console Zelda titles. This includes Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, The Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, and Breath of the Wild. With the spoiler warning out of the way, let's hop into our first comparison, Majora's Mask. Majora's Mask is the direct sequel to Ocarina of Time, so obviously there will be connections between the two titles, but how much? Well, let's take a look. Right off the bat, Majora's Mask starts off telling a summary of Link defeating Ganon in Ocarina of Time, and how he is on another journey looking for his old fairy companion Navi. This means that Majora's Mask Link is Ocarina of Time's young Link, in case that wasn't obvious. He's even got the Kokiri sword he used from Ocarina of Time, as well as the Ocarina of Time itself. Not to mention that his gentle horse companion Epona is also the same horse from Ocarina of Time. Later on in the game, after Link gets cursed into a Deku Scrub, he finds a small town called Clock Town. While they may be new characters in a sense, Clock Town's residents are almost all reused character models from Ocarina of Time. This is because Majora's Mask was made in a single year, so the development team had to reuse a lot of aspects from Ocarina of Time. This includes Deku Scrubs, Gorons, Zoras, NPC characters, Wolfos, Dunilphos, Elemental Arrows, Bombchus, Deku Sticks, Deku Nuts, Magic Beans, The Lens of Truth, Song of Time, Song of Storms, Epona Song, Scarecrow Song, Goron Mask, Zora Mask, Mask of Truth, Keaton Mask, Bunny Hood, and they also reused the entire Gerudo race from Ocarina of Time as the pirates within the Pirates Grotto. Now, let's discuss Majora's Mask's story. In Majora's Mask, Link must awaken the 4 giants that protect the world of Termina in order to prevent the moon from crashing into Clock Town and ending the world. Did you notice any similarities to this storyline and the storyline of Ocarina of Time? I hope you didn't, because the story of Majora's Mask is completely new and original compared to the rehashed core formula that A Link to the Past started. But why did the developers choose to do this? Well, when making Majora's Mask, they absolutely needed to make a new and fresh storyline, as Ocarina of Time, its prequel, had already used the A Link to the Past formula. They couldn't use it again, which resulted in the story that Majora's Mask is so well known for. The Wind Waker is our next Zelda title we will be looking at. The Wind Waker has a lot to it that was affected by Ocarina of Time. First off, the cel-shaded graphics of The Wind Waker were a result of Eiji Aonuma, the director of the Zelda franchise, to try and make a Zelda game that had a different feel to it. After Majora's Mask, he was tired of the realistic art style they had done for Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time, which resulted in the developers eventually settling on the art style of cel-shaded graphics in The Wind Waker. The art style really threw people off, as Nintendo had shown a GameCube tech demo that showed a realistic adult Link fighting Ganondorf. It was just a tech demo though, which means it was never going to be a game in the first place. Now, story-wise, it's a no-brainer that the Wind Waker's story is, in my opinion, one of the best stories in a Zelda game we've gotten to date. To start off the analysis, Link collects 3 Goddess Pearls in order to awaken the Tower of the Gods in order to do something. Link doesn't know what completing the Tower of the Gods will do, but when he submerges underwater with the King of Red Lions, they end up in a mysterious and forgotten land. Later on in the game, Link and his new pirate friend, Tetra, are confronted by the spirit of the King of Hyrule. The King of Hyrule is actually the King of Red Lions, and he guided Link to this sunken land to put an end to Ganondorf's plans once again. The land that Link finds under the vast ocean he's so used to is actually the Kingdom of Hyrule. Not just any Hyrule though. This Hyrule, heck, this entire game's story is connected to the legend of the Hero of Time. In the prologue, it talks about the Hero of Time slaying Ganon and freeing the people of Hyrule from his evil. In The Wind Waker, Link has a shield that once belonged to the Hero of Time, withdraws the Master Sword that the Hero of Time once wielded, and puts an end to Ganondorf, just as the Hero of Time did. Ganondorf even refers to Link as the Hero of Time Reborn. There's even a statue of the Hero of Time in Hyrule Castle, and the statue protects the entrance to the basement of the castle where the Master Sword sleeps and where Princess Zelda stays to hide from Ganondorf. Next up, we're going to take a look at The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. First off, we're going to talk about the art style again. Twilight Princess has the most realistic graphics in the Zelda series to this date, and the reason Twilight Princess took the realistic approach is due to the lack of sales The Wind Waker got. The Wind Waker was supposed to get a direct sequel on the GameCube, but the sales for The Wind Waker were low because of the cel-shaded art style, and people wanted to see the Ocarina of Time style again. Because of this, they chose to make the art style have a realistic approach in order to please the Zelda fans that wanted realism. Now, in terms of story, Twilight Princess doesn't have much relation to Ocarina of Time. The story does use the core formula from A Link to the Past, which is collect 3 objects to get the Master Sword, followed by more dungeons, fight for the boss, and beat the game. The only relations I could find in Twilight Princess is in the Forest Temple, the doors in the dungeon have the symbol of the Kokiri's Emerald. In the Goron Mines, Virus, the boss of the Goron Mines, is actually Darbus, the Goron Patriarch, after being possessed by dark magic. In Twilight Princess's story, Goron tells Link that their chief touched a treasure that was entrusted to them by the gods, and when Darbus touched this treasure, it turned him into a monster. This treasure that Darbus touched was actually the spiritual stone of fire, Goron's ruby. However, the stone was casted with black magic by Zant, which resulted in Darbus's transformation. Now, they never specify that the treasure is factually Goron's ruby, but it is highly likely because the Goron's ruby is the only gem the Gorons have ever worshipped or held high praise to. Even in Ocarina of Time, it was a highly respected gem that had its own little shrine for it. And the Gorons themselves have tattoos on their arms with the Goron's ruby on them, just like in Ocarina of Time. Not to mention, the gem on Virus' forehead glows red, the color of Goron's ruby. Now that all of that is out of the way, here's the most obvious connection: the Hero Shade. The Hero Shade is a mysterious Stalfos that teaches Link new sword techniques throughout the game. To summon the Hero Shade, Link has to become a wolf and howl a song that is produced by Sheikah stones that you can find in the game. When Link howls these songs, though, they are actually songs that Link learned in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Why is this? Well, that's because the Hero Shade is none other than the Hero of Time himself. That's right, Ocarina of Time Link is the Hero Shade, teaching his descendant new sword techniques to vanquish evil once and for all. Skyward Sword may have the least amount of Ocarina of Time content in it, as it is a prequel to Ocarina of Time. However, there are a couple of them, so let's dive in. First off, the Hyrule Historia refers that Time Shift Stones and the Ocarina of Time are connected. Is this possible? It certainly is. In Skyward Sword, Time Shift Stones are stones that revert the land around it back in time. This mechanic helps Link solve puzzles and progress through the game. However, the shade of the Time Shift Stones are a very similar shade to the Ocarina of Time. Basically, they're both blue and have time-traveling powers. However, if they are one and the same, this would mean that the Ocarina of Time was produced from a Time Shift Stone. This would make a lot of sense in terms of how, once again, they're both blue and have time-traveling capabilities. Next up, we've got the Goddess Harp. The Goddess Harp is a harp that belonged to Zelda, but she gives it to Link during the encounter with Girahim. The Goddess Harp is then used by Link and Fi to learn songs to awaken Silent Realms and complete a side quest or two. Now, why is this important? Well, the Goddess Harp is actually the same harp that Sheik uses to teach Link songs in Ocarina of Time. Pretty neat, huh? Anyway, there's only one more Ocarina of Time related thing I could find, and that is the very end of the game. After defeating Demise, Demise puts a curse on Link and the Hylian bloodline. Extraordinary, you stand as a paragon of your kind, human. You fight like no man or demon I have ever known, though this is not the end. My hate never perishes. It is born anew in a cycle with no end. I will rise again. Those like you, those who share the blood of the goddess and the spirit of the hero, they are eternally bound to this curse. An incarnation of my hatred shall ever follow your kind, dooming them to wander a blood-soaked sea of darkness for all time. This last line from Demise suggests that this is how Ganondorf from Ocarina of Time came to be. To summarize, Ganondorf is Demise reborn. Ganondorf is Demise, but with the blood of the goddess and the spirit of the hero. This makes sense as it fills the lines Demise says properly. Ganondorf also hates the gods and wants the Triforce to himself. Ganondorf also is around for thousands of years. Ganondorf appears in Ocarina of Time, The Wind Waker, and Twilight Princess. These 3 games take place thousands of years apart, but Ganondorf appears in all of them. This fills the last line of Demise, dooming them to wander a blood-soaked sea of darkness for all time. Last, but certainly not least, we have Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is the first Zelda game to break away from the core mechanics of Zelda and make a new, refreshing story and gameplay elements. However, Nintendo still threw in some stuff that connects this game to Ocarina of Time, so let's look into it. To start, in the memory subdued ceremony Link recovers during his travels, he is in a ceremony where Zelda appoints him as the hero that will save Hyrule and is the wielder of the sword that seals the darkness. During Zelda's speech, however, she says these lines.
Whether skyward bound, adrift in time, or steeped in the glowing embers of twilight, the sacred blade is forever bound to the soul of the hero.
Right here, Zelda makes a historical callback to the adventures of Link's past. Skyward Sword, Ocarina of Time, and Twilight Princess in that order. Even though it's not specifically for Ocarina of Time, it is still a neat little callback through Hyrule's bloody history. Next up, in the plains of Hyrule Field, you can encounter a ranch that has been destroyed from the attack of Calamity Ganon. Does this ranch look familiar? If not, let me jog your memory. This ranch was once Lon Lon Ranch from Ocarina of Time. Do you see it now? Yes? Good then. Next up, in Zora's Domain you can find rocks with engraved markings on them. These rocks actually talk about the history of the Zoras, and among the history of the Zoras, they mention the origins to the name of divine beast Varuta. The Zoras named Varuta after Ruto, as she was a sage who helped aid the hero of legend and the princess of Hyrule. Ruto is the Sage of Water from Ocarina of Time, so this connection between the 2 games was a nice touch. Lastly, in Breath of the Wild, with the use of amiibos, you can unlock the green tunics of Links from past Zelda games, including Ocarina of Time. Meaning, you can dress up as the hero of time himself in Breath of the Wild if you have the Ocarina of Time Link amiibo. You also have a chance of finding the Bigoron sword from Ocarina of Time with the Ocarina of Time Link amiibo. How sweet is that? So, what did you think? Isn't it crazy how connected Ocarina of Time is to all these Zelda games? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and share this video, as every like you give me will help me grow as a channel, as well as every share I get. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so YouTube will let you know whenever I upload. I also do live streams from time to time, so be sure to check one out sometime if you're free. Have Discord? How about you check the description and click that Discord link and become a new member of my Discord server. It's full of lovely people, and I also announce when I stream there and post upload links there as well. It's mainly used as another notification source in case YouTube won't deliver the goods on time. Now before I go, I'd like to make a quick shout out to my awesome friend, Volans Gaming. Volans Gaming is a new gaming channel that was recently started by my good friend Volans. Volans is a cool guy I used to go to school with before I graduated. He's currently playing through Metroid Prime, so if you're interested, definitely be sure to check out his channel and subscribe to him. A link to his channel will be in the description below. I do believe that is everything for this video, so with that said, my name is Hylian Luke. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Ciao!